developer life cycles, how a project is being made in the development team, right? So you already know that. So that gives you an edge because when you become a product manager, you will have to communicate with a lot of developers and the developer teams, dev teams, right? So that is one role, software development engineer, that you can move into product management later in ahead. How do you move into it? Is by doing an extra work. So that's the basic thing, right? Whenever you want to transition into any career role, what you do is you take up tasks that are suitable for the job role that you want to transition in. So, for example, if you are a software dev and you want to transition into, let's say, product management, so after completing your software dev work, you will take up extra tasks or maybe some projects, or maybe you will talk to your boss that, you know what, I'm an aspiring product manager, and I'd like to, help the current product manager in the features or in the brainstorming part or in writing the PRDs. So you basically volunteer for that role so that you get observed, and then later maybe you can, you get a chance to transition into that role, that is product management. So so like that is what the basic thinking about transitioning is. Similarly, we could do for marketing managers are there, so they could uh, what marketing managers do is they take care of the outsourced marketing. That is, no, I'm not talking about product marketing manager, I'm just talking about the generic marketing managers. So what they do is they'll they'll talk to the banner guys, and they'll do all the marketing stuff that is outsourced, right? Not the thinking part, but the outsourced part. So to transition into product management, what they can do, they already know marketing part, they can help in tech brainstorming, or maybe they could help in the UI UX department. So that's how you do. So basically, whatever department you are already into, you remove those skill sets from the already product management skill sets that we learned today. So you see, if product management has 5 skill sets, if one of them is your domain skill set, you just remove them, and then you help volunteer in the remaining 4 skill sets, right? So that is basically how you transition into product management from any role. Now that's a different thing when we talk about something like, of course, doctors cannot get into product management, right? So you have to be in the domain, you have to be in the same industry to actually be a product manager. And sometime it might also happen that the company itself might not have any product manager. That happens a lot in case of service based companies. So what happens is, uh, their services are really going on, and many times they are just providing their services to another company, right? So many times I've seen some companies, they don't have product managers in such cases. So you have to take care of all those things while thinking of transitioning into product management role from an already existing career that you have, right? All good. uh, all good, Ramya, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you so much.
Alright. So now let's just review what we did yesterday. It would hardly take about 10 minutes. So on day one, we talked about what product management is. uh, what are the similar roles in product management, the PM myths, and what are the roles of an APM or PM? And we took about the Netflix case study, right? So let's see what product management really is. It's about optimizing, it's about adding, it's about removing features from a product, or making a product itself to make it beneficial and more profitable, beneficial for the user and profitable for the company. So what the very, very basic product management definition, right? What are the functions of a product manager? On a day to on a like one project, this is one project life cycle, right? So he picks up a project, he does the researching and planning work, that is the brainstorming work or the ideation work. If there's a new feature, then you know thinking about the new feature, what has to be done, what has to be given, basically. What's the thing, the very basic, what's the thing, right? That has, and similar in the case of a new product as well. Then comes the designing part, where with this designing part is not the UI UX one. This is actually seeing if the feature of the product is useful enough. That is defining the goals, defining the use case, also defining the requirements, so that when we gonna implement it in the next stage, is it even feasible enough, right? Then also wireframing it for others, that is, you know this thing is gonna happen. We have to do a thing first, then B, then C, then D. So that is called wireframing, right? Doing that, and also making the PRD, that is product requirements document, which contains each and every detail of a product, right, or the feature. Then the third part is implementing and testing the product or the feature. So then we go in with the devs, then we go in with the UI UX developers, the software developers, or anyone, the web developers or Android developers, depending on the product. And if the product is technical, they also talk with the technical product managers on how it could be implemented. After that, in the testing phase, many companies do dog fooding. What dog fooding meant was that simply testing out the product on their people itself. So eating your own food. That's what. And then they do the testing, and then it goes for the final release, right? Similar roles we talked about. Uh, so we talked about APM, that is Associate Product Manager role. So it's like the mini role for a product manager or entity role. So for example, in for if you want to become a senior software developer, you start as a software developer one, right? So for being a product manager, you start as an associate product manager, right? So that's what an APM means. Then there come technical product manager. So depending on the domain of the product, some products are in, like, they might be just blockchain oriented, or they might be from the financial tech industry, that is fintech industry. They might be from the machine learning industry. So for them, these products, there is a specific use case where they really need a lot of tech in that domain, right? An ML product will need a lot of ML understanding. So for them, they also recruit technical product managers. Then business analyst, who works basically in the analytics part. So for example, we discussed an example yesterday, that what would a business analyst do for YouTube. So what he'll do is that he'll take care of how many people are attending the app every day, or every month, or every week. He'll check out the retention. We'll talk what retention is. He could check out the geo data, the geographical data. Also, he could check what kind of age group is viewing what kind of genre, right? So after analyzing these all points, all the statistics, he'll make out pinpoints that this thing is better, this thing is not good, and then they'll pass it on to the next person responsible, right? So that's what a business analyst does. Then the next came thing was product marketing manager, right? So product marketing manager basically does not works on the tech part, but on the managemental side, or and the business side. So a general product manager would work on the management side, on the business side, on the marketing side, on the tech side, on the design side, everywhere. But a product marketing manager would be more specific towards the marketing and the growth of the product, right? He won't be much interested into the tech part, maybe, right? So that's what a product marketing manager is. Then we talked about myths. The first myth was product managers are the bosses or the CEOs, which is absolutely not true. Uh, Nobody is obliged to listen to our product managers, right? They are not. They are CEOs, but without authority. So that is why we say that product managers need a lot of influencing skills. They need a lot of manipulation skills, right? Then the second myth was, can you become a product manager right after college? Yes, you can. There, in fact, many companies, they don't hire MBAs. They don't, they just directly recruit out of colleges. So for APM roles, you Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and many other companies, they just take in students right after college. Then do you need a PM? Do you need an MBA to become a PM? No, right? It's not a necessary. Sometimes it's a good to have thing, but that depends from company to company. There are some companies like Amazon prefers MBAs, but Apple, Microsoft, Google, they do not prefer MBAs, right? They do not prefer MBAs. So uh there it's different from company to company. Usually big tech companies, they have a mix of MBAs and non MBA in terms of product managers. Startups usually prefer non MBA due to whatever reasons they might be. Then we did the Netflix question, the simple use case, right? And then we did the Q&A thing. So yeah, now we'll move a little slower. That was just a quick, very quick review of what we did yesterday. So that is why it was fast, right? So now let me know if you feel it's fast or if it's slow, and we'll do likewise, right? So for day two, in the agenda, we have what skills are needed to become a PM, what product managers, what are the skills that you need to, become a good product manager. Or we'll look about product metrics, terminologies, and tools. So these are the basic terms that every product manager or an aspiring product manager should know. So they could actually go ahead. And then we'll talk about how to crack PM internships, where we'll talk about interviews, resumes, and also I'll show you a few projects that I made uh, for my previous companies or internships, right? For the recruitment part, not after getting into the internship, but for the recruitment, before the recruitment, basically. All good, guys. Everyone awake? Can you give me a yes in the chat box very quickly? A stream of yeses. Can we do that? I just want to check if everyone is awake or not. Yeah. All right. I guess the chat section is not. Uh, can you guys send chat messages?
Already
Uh,
sent, sir.
all right. All
Yes.
right. Um, Anupa, could you please check? I'm not able to see the chats actually. So can you please look into that? Till then, we'll begin. Right. Okay. Now it's visible. Now it's visible. Okay. So that's what the agenda is: the skills, the product matrix, terminologies, tools, and then we'll come to cracking PM internships. So a little longer session today, but it's gonna be good, guys. It's gonna be good. You're gonna enjoy the session. So the listed ones are the basic skills that every APM needs at the least to become a product manager. So that is, there are so many skills. That is why we say, it's a multi domained. You should have multi domain knowledge to be a product manager, because the amount of skills, for example, a data analyst would only need to know analysis and maybe communication, right? A growth one just would need growth and communication. Then again, a design person would only need UI UX knowledge and maybe customer mindset. But a product manager needs to know everything, right? So we look what each skill means, right? So the first thing is critical thinking or problem solving skill. So yeah. So what is problem solving, right? What a product manager does is he picks up the pain points, he picks up what problems the user is facing, and then solves them. So to pick out the problems also you need to think critically. So that's what basic critical thinking problem is, right? Yesterday we took the Netflix case study. There you guys, I gave you that, these were the three uh to be happened things, like three problems that the users was facing. Then you had to prioritize. So all these things need the skill of critical thinking. People think that it's general aptitude, but it's not. Critical thinking is much more than that. And you really need to have a good hold over there, and also on the problem solving part. So that problem solving is one more thing why people from the tech industry do good in product management field, because we do coding, we do a lot of problem solving in the engineering, and we know how to solve problems in a structured manner. So someone coming from maybe a non-tech field might face a little difficulty in this side, right? So again, a point of motivation for the tech enthusiasts, right? Then the second important thing is analytics. So any feature that you make, any project that you make, anything that you make, deploy or implement needs to be tested, right? If you're making XYZ feature and if you are deploying it into your product, after a few time, you have to check how much success rate it did, right? How good it did to the user. So basically, for that, you need to have a good hold amount on the analytic skills. There are a lot of softwares that we use. Uh, the previous company that I worked in, we used what was called Google Analytics. We used that, and there was one more app I cannot remember now. Uh, yeah, whatever. So then the third thing that comes is customer oriented mindset. So this is the most important thing that comes when we are talking about product management, because as a product manager you are the face of the product, or you are basically talking from the customer's side. you know like, product manager is basically the customer talking to the team, right? So that is why we say every product manager has to have the customer oriented mindset. What it means in layman terms is making things as easy as possible for the customer. So you have to think from the customers or the user's perspective, how it's going to help me, what pain points I'm facing, what are the problems or the issues I'm facing, and then making them good, right? Making the experience good, making removing all the pain points that a user is going to face or the user might face. Then you need a tech, of course. Not all product managers need tech, but a little of tech is very much necessary in the sense that if you're a product manager, you have to communicate with developers, you have to communicate with the coding team, right? In layman terms, again, the coding team. So you need to have a perspective on things. For example, someone coming from maybe management side, and there's someone coming from the tech side, right? Now there comes a solution that we have to make XYZ thing. Now, the person from the tech industry, although he might not be able to code that thing by himself, but for sure he'll able to tell that, is this thing doable? Is this thing, can this be implemented easily, and can it be scalable, right? So people coming from the non-tech industry, they have to work extra on these developing their tech skills. But the engineers, they don't have to do anything, right? They already know enough tech. Growth and marketing. So this is not a very essential part, but a little knowledge on this side is always, appreciated from a product manager. So how growth strategies, go to market strategies, so things like that. Communication skills, these are the best, like this is the most optimal skill that any product manager has to know. He should know how to influence people, he should know manipulation, he has to make the work environment good, he should know how to bond with his teammates, he should know how to bond with other teams. There are cross functional teams. For example, I remember Facebook does this program of APMs. They hire APM for 1 year into rotational programs. So what they do is, they, for each 4 month slot, you'll have to work with one specific team. So maybe the APM in the first 4 months would work with the tech team. Next, they might work with the design team, and then after that, they might work with the growth and marketing team. So you should be able to communicate with everyone. What you are thinking, you should be able to articulate it to a wider audience, so that whatever your idea is, they should know that, oh yes, this is the idea, this is the thing that I have to do. The UI UX guy should know, oh, this is the red button and this kind of red button I have to make. The designer should know, okay, I have to do the coding, but this cascading sheet or this kind of scroll button I have to make, right? So the idea should be clear, and the product managers should have the enough communication skills to articulate that idea and send it to the next person, right? So these are the skills that a product manager needs, uh, essential skills that any product managers, irrespective junior or senior role, needs, right? So later we'll see some questions that will cover these skills. I'm not gonna do coding and stuff, but again, the critical thinking and the customer oriented mindset, all these other skills, design we'll see. Technical also we'll do if you guys want to. Uh, but we'll do it in the next class. Then now comes tools and terminologies and the metrics. I forgot to write the word metrics. Everyone awake? Everyone awake? Before we start, any doubts in the previous section? What skills in the skills section? Is there any doubt? Let me know. No doubts? Okay. All right. Lovely, lovely. Okay, I'll quickly summarize all the skills again. Right. First skills, analytics. So basically doing all the analysis of the product, what features have been deployed, not only the analysis after the product has been deployed, but also the doing the analysis and the research before the product or the feature has to even be made, right? So it, like for example, there might be a feature that is good enough, but is it for is it good for the reach of people? Like, do people use it? For example, we saw, right, PayPal is a good product, but do people use it in India? Can we implement into the Indian sector? No. So that is what an analytics skills means. Then critical thinking and problem solving. So structured problem solving. That is, thinking in a structured way and solving problems in a very structured and formalized manner is what problem solving or critical thinking means. Then customer oriented mindset, in the sense that you should be able to see from a customer's or the user's perspective. You should know they what things are harder for them, and what things are, at the same time you also have to see what things are easier for the management. But at any cost, the product manager is the voice of the customer. So he should be able to see what is the best for the user, and then after that, for the developers and stuff. Then you should have the knowledge of tech, general coding languages. One coding language is very beginner, very beginner. You should know just the concept. what a coding language is, these general terms, very general terms you should know. What are algorithms, what is efficiency, all these terms and all these, there are many things in tech, very that might feel very generic to the engineers, but might feel a little over the top for the non-tech. But tech is important, right? Growth and marketing. So how a product has to be marketed and grown into the community, into the market sector. Again, research is also included over there. Then comes communication skills. How do you communicate with everyone? Do we have to know data structures? No, Anusha. You don't need data structures in tech, uh, but you need to have a basic understanding that, okay, queue, if there is a queue that we are going to implement, efficiency is 0.3%, and there's a linked list, if we're going to implement it, the efficiency is 0.6%. So if the developer tells you that, you should have an idea of what the developer is talking about so that you can take decisions, right? Then comes design sense. So a little sense over UI UX, that is not the theoretical knowledge, but the actual design sense. That is, if it's a, for example, if it's a mental health app, we don't want buzzy music, right? We don't want buzzy music in the app, right? For example, if it's a hackathon related website, we want it to be flashy so that children are attracted. We want the price section to be flashed, right? So all these things, the general design sense, the common design sense is also very much needed. Essential tech skills, Ramya, basically all the uh so it's like the generic terms you should know, what the tech terms are there. Then a little knowledge about what are the domains. For example, you should know what ML is, what blockchain is. So very generic knowledge. And over the period when you go into the domain, for example, if you're going into the fintech domain, over the period you will develop that financial tech wala aspect. But before that, you have to have a little bit of knowledge on that, right? So no doubts, right? Let's come to tools and technologies. Just give me a minute, I need to drink a little pot water. Now it's all good, guys. uh Just 15 more minutes, hardly 15 more minutes. After we finish this tools, technologies, and the metrics, we'll move on to good exercises. You guys would enjoy them, right? So these are all the tools and terminologies that are very basic for UI UX. Do we need to know about coding stuff? No, you do not need to know about the coding stuff. You should just know the we talk about common sense in daily life, that uh, if the towel is if the like if the towel is wet, you should dry it and use it, like that's common sense. So it's the same common sense from design perspective you should have that. Okay, uh, if we are talking about food, the color should be bright yellow and stuff. They should not be dull like gray or something. Tools like Figma and all these, they help a lot. I mean, you should be able to use it, or you should at least, like, if your company is using, then you can learn them. Like these tools are very kind of easy for a product manager actually, because they do not have to make, they just have to kind of like be able to just use it, so that if someone is showing them something or they have to do something, they should be just able to use it. They don't have to make anything from scratch over there, right? But these help a lot in cracking the interviews and the internships and the job role itself. So let's come to tools. Right. So the first, the So it's a mix of tools, terminologies, and metrics. So I'll tell you what backlog is just a term, right? What backlog means is when we talk about any feature or we are talking about a product, when we are having meetings, there might be a lot of things that comes into mind, right? Oh, we can add this feature as well. We can add this feature as well. Or maybe the stakeholders for every products, there are investors, right? So the investors might have some specific needs that they want in the product, or they think that this thing might be good for the product. But then the product manager has some priorities. So whatever the necessities or the important things that have to be done in future but are not being done right now are put into the backlog. So basically tech backlog or backlog is basically all the things that are not being done right now, but they might be or they have to be done in the future. Roadmap. Roadmap, we can say from two perspectives. It's a term. So a customer roadmap as well as a product roadmap. So product roadmap would be the roadmap that is being used by the internal team. That is the product management. Product manager would say that, first we have to do this ideation, then we'll do this testing, and then we'll do this that testing, XYZ testing, and then we'll come back for the feedback loop. So that could be a product or the internal roadmap. For a customer roadmap, the thing could be how a customer. Am I audible, guys?
Yes,
Is
you
my
are.
all right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, you are audible.
you can call me Anmol. It's all cool. So we come to customer roadmap. So the product manager basically defines how a customer would use a product. So for example, if you open Facebook, okay, if just imagine you are opening Facebook for the first time. So what the person would do? The first thing is onboarding. The person would download the app, then he would sign in, then the product manager could decide what thing has to be put up next. Then the Facebook pop-up comes that, add these 5 friends from your contact list. Do you want to import your contact list? Right? So all these things, this is what the steps a person has to do, the customer has to do, comes under roadmap. So point by point, the first step is this onboarding. Second step is sign up. Third step is including their personal contact list. Fourth step is, making them follow bigger personalities, right? Fifth step could be recommending them all friends, right? Seventh could be then, on the revenue side, that making them view the marketplace, the Facebook market or something like that, right? So that is what a roadmap means. What up next is product. So we talked about product. We are talking about product. What a product means, any service or any value providing entity that we are providing to a user is a product. So anything that provides value or a service, or it might be also something physical in the sense Kellogg's pack, right? Uh, Dairy milk silk packages. So it could be anything physical as well. So that is what a product means. KPI uh, is it's a metric. So what metrics are basically? Metrics are things that are used to analyze, detect, or critically think about a product. So what is a KPI? Anyone knows about KPI?
Key
Anyone?
performance indicators.
Exactly. So what a KPI means is key performance indicator. What it does is, for example, there's a product. Uh, let's take let's take Microsoft Teams, right? We are working on that. So let's take Microsoft Teams. So what would be the indicator of key performance? What indicator can you see from an analytics side that you'll say, okay, this is the best indicator that I could use to see the growth or the betterment of the product? For Microsoft Teams, it could be the number of meetings that are done on a daily basis, right? Or the number of meeting duration, the cumulative, the total duration of a meeting that could be done. So it could be a key performance indicator for Microsoft Teams, right? Then what is agile? App downloads. App downloads. Could it be a key performance indicator? Why is it not? I'll tell you. App downloads is like a person is downloading the app, right? From a marketing perspective, it's good that a person is downloading the app, but it's not a good point. It's not a key performance indicator because the person might download the app, but he might not use it. He might not like it, or maybe there are bugs and features, right? So that is why app download is not a key performance indicator, because it only shows the amount of people coming in, but it does not shows the amount of people using the app, right? Can be onboarding stage. Again, onboarding stage is basically acquiring people. We'll talk about acquisition tomorrow. So it's about, yeah, see, you said acquisition, right? So it's about acquiring people. It's not about the product use case itself, Ramya. So that is why, again, onboarding stage is not the key indicator for maybe Microsoft Team or any other app, right? It could be for some apps, very basic app like Google Form or something like that, but not for these kind of apps. Coming to agile, what is agile? Agile is it's a term. It's a term. So agile is basically how companies work, or how product management is being done, or how project management is being done in a company. So there are companies, yeah, software developer lifecycle is one type of agile methodology. That is how a whole project is gonna work from start to end. So that is what basically an what agile means, is how a product or a process or a project is gonna work from start to the very end, right? Then what is Kanban? Kanban is one such agile methodology. We saw someone said SDLC, that is software development life cycle. So that is for software, right? So similarly, Kanban is again a type of agile methodology. Just give me a minute. Not able- okay. So Kanban is again a type of very simple agile methodology where we see where we differentiate all the tasks on the basis of three things: that this task has to be done, this task is being done, and this task is completed or it's already done. So in Kanban, we basically talk about these three things. So we put a list of all the tasks and we divide them into three sectors, maybe to be done, doing, and completed, right? So that's Kanban. What's next? Next is churn. So churn basically, in product management terms, it means how many users have stopped using the app, right? So for example, 1,000 users were acquired, but how many users actually stopped using the product after a specific amount of time? So that is what a churn rate or churn means. Okay, the PPT is same, right? Yeah. Then what is customer validation? So customer validation is again a terminology. Customer validation means that is the product validated by the customer? Like, are the users or the customers happy enough with the product? Is the price good enough? So that's what a customer validation means. Customer journey app is the next term. Customer journey map is more like the roadmap for the customers. So that is what I told, right? Roadmap could be of two types, that is for product people and then for the customers. So customer journey map is basically the roadmap for the customer or the user. Design thinking is the next terminology, which, all right. So design thinking basically means thinking about the design perspectives of the product in a structured manner. So there are some frameworks of design thinking which product managers use while thinking of a feature or a problem. Then top down strategy, bottom up strategy, we talked on first day. Top down strategy is basically when the instructions or the features or the vision of the product come from the top hierarchy of a company. That is from the founders, from the co-founders, the executives, right? That is top down strategy. The opposite of it is bottom up strategy, where it goes from the user or maybe from the product managers or from the teams to the founders and then it gets reviewed. The next is persona. What a persona means? Persona means how a user behaves, what kind of a user is, and how it helps is it helps to validate the product in the sense, for example, Facebook can be good for the persona for the old age people and the middle age people. That is our moms and dads, right? For that generation, Facebook could be very, very well used. They still use it. But for the newer generation, for the Gen Z, for the Gen Z persona, Facebook is kind of redundant, right? So that is where personas help. The next is retention. Retention is a terminology, or it's also a metric. So retention is basically how many people come to your app or the product, how many people use your product again. So for example, person A is using the product on first day. Is he coming back to use the product on the 30th day? That is retention. So that's 30-day retention, monthly retention. MAU, DAU, WAU, means monthly active users, daily active users, weekly active users. So this is the basic amount of people who are using the app or the product on a monthly, daily, and weekly basis. Now, what is its significance is that daily active users divided by monthly active users is a ratio, right? So these ratios are very important, which signifies how many, for example, there are 100 people that are using the app in the whole month. How many of them are using the app on a daily basis, right? So these ratios are very important from a stakeholder's perspective. Usually, uh, software apps with DAU upon MAU ratio of 8 to 10 get good amount of investments by the investors, right? That the MAU ratio below that, investors are not willing to invest into that product because they want to see if the users are using it. Then comes stakeholders. Stakeholders are basically the people or the executives who have a stake in the company or in the product. They have invested something monetarily. Then comes MVP. MVP is a terminology. It means minimum viable product. Um, it means minimum viable product. That is, for sometime what happens is a product is very complex, right? But the company does not have enough funds to support the product for a longer run. So they make a smaller version of the product and launch it into the market. So that's called an MVP, the minimum viable product. A product at its minimum stage that is usable. So that's an MVP. Wireframing is framing all the points, yeah, kind of a demo of a product, right, Minaz, right? Wireframing is basically how a process goes, how are the ideas formulated, and it's useful when a product manager has to articulate his thoughts to the other teammates or members. Now, the last column, I'm just leaving for the. Oh well, I cannot leave it because, or I think we should cover it tomorrow because it's just 10 minutes left for the session and we have a lot to cover. Like we have exercises, then we have to talk about internships, then we have a lot of questions, a lot of questions. So I think we'll stop this session today itself and we'll move on for the doubt session, right? Because this the stuff that we have remaining is going to take easy 30-40 minutes. So I'm stopping today's session at this point. Let me know whatever doubts we have, whatever doubts you guys have, and we can cover it today, right? We'll we'll begin with the remaining metrics and the interview and the internship part tomorrow. So we'll do it tomorrow. All right.
Anmol, I have a
So
question.
yeah, tell me.
Okay, sorry to stop you in between.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So yeah, so my question is, support suppose you were telling we all only know that say suppose Microsoft Teams or Skype software or any kind of software. For that software, yes, there must be a product manager. Okay, but so I suppose I am working in a
Yeah, tell me.
suppose I am working in a say support project. Okay, say we are supporting our clients from IT infra side, from application support side, from each and every type. We are just completely on a support kind of project. Say suppose. So will there also be a product manager to manage all those kind of service based things, or only when there is a development kind of purpose, there only we need a product manager?
So, others, there are some service-based companies as well, where we have product managers. But again, as you said, like consultancy services or providing customer support, these kind of services, not they really do not need product managers in the sense that the problem is not to be defined or provided. The services that have to be provided are already decided by the company, and they are provided on a regular basis by the domain experts. For example, if you are doing, as you said, you are delivering clients the services, so the domain expert would know what services are to be provided. But so so there they do not need product managers, right? But think if the company is growing or is on a growth stage. At that stage, they have to decide what products or what services they have to give to the clients that are good for the company part, for the revenue part, as well as for the client part. So at that stage, a company might need a product manager, right?
Okay, so if their infrastructure is growing and whatever format they are provided at the time of contract, if that is growing in some phase or they want to make that grow and they want suggestion from our side, being a contractor to that project. So at that scenario, we need a product manager, even if that is a support kind of project also.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
maybe they might not need core product managers, but they might look in for product marketing managers or maybe business analyst to see how their company is ranking and doing, right?
Okay.
Sana,
So to build up the efficiency as per the requirement, we can bring different kinds of PM roles. Say suppose associate PM or PM or business analyst or marketing manager, any kind of. As per
yes,
requirement, we will be assigning that.
exactly, exactly.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Sana, you mentioned design thinking frameworks. Could you give an example of such frameworks? Tomorrow is the whole day we are going to do frameworks and frameworks. Maybe tomorrow we'll now cover the remaining part that we missed today, that is the interview part and the behavior, or maybe we can do the remaining part on the end day. And tomorrow we'll all do frameworks, a lot of frameworks we're going to do. We're going to see how Netflix work, how Spotify works, what are MVPs, how some software companies launched their MVPs, what were their MVPs, and many different Moscow model, hook model, all these frameworks we're going to cover tomorrow. So a lot of frameworks. So there are a few sites, Rutuja, where you can learn more terminologies. Uh, there is productcareer.io, productcareer.io. You can check its website. There are a lot of terminologies in brief details. Uh, that is one such resources, and there, you'll find you can just search in product management glossary, and you'll find a lot of terminologies. Anusha asks, can technical writers also work with product manager products? do technical writers also matters? So technical writers do matter, but not exactly with the product managers, because product managers have to think and they can write what they think, right? It's not a need. It's not a need. It is something very essential that they only have to do. So they do not need someone extra to do that writing word or that documentation part, because it's a part of their role itself. But of course, technical writers are so valuable. They are highly paid in the industry. I don't know tech, but I do write technical stuff and I get paid heavily for that. So for sure, I can say technical writers matter a lot, but just not with product managers. Right? Ramya asked, so is product manager roles are available only in product based companies like Google, Freshworks, Amazon, etc.? They are more available in product based companies, but they are also available in service based companies. That is how I'd like to answer that question. And see, so I left the meet. Okay, this is something related to the attendance. Any websites for learning product management skills? So there are a lot of people, not such websites. For content, you could go to Product Career. She was my mentor. So Product Career, you could search her in Instagram or Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere she is. So YouTube also. So you can go check their website as well. So yeah, I can share the her resource link. Uh, just at the end of 5 minutes, I'll just do that. Right, just remind me of that. Also, I'll stop sharing. Right, we can stop the recording. Right, then for resources, then uh there's a very